Welcome to New Stripe City and the Orange is a New Black podcast. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, joined by my co-host Zim. Zim, say what's up.
Hello, world. How y'all doing this evening? I feel really, really good. This is just an amazing thing that's happening to us, and I just want to thank God for this opportunity. And I'm here, and we are here. The people are here with none other than Hue Jackson. How you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic, and what an honor to be with you two young men. It is exciting.
Oh,
Yes,
we're
sir.
glad to be in your presence for sure.
So first and foremost, just off the back, like I know pre-interview we were just saying, hey, like how you doing? Like, what are you up to? What are you doing these days? Like, take us through a normal day of Hue Jackson at this current moment.
Well, I can't give you a normal day because it's all unnormal.
Okay.
All right.
I'm a little bit everywhere. I'm down at Fox sometimes in LA. I'm in Arizona. I'm in Miami. I'm in Cincinnati. I've been in a lot of different places doing a lot of different things. I have a tequila brand going as well. I have a foundation that I'm involved in, and just trying to stay busy until I can get back to football. Boy, I want to get on the grass so bad. It is killing me.
For real?
Oh, we got to get Hugh back,
Yeah,
man.
after all that, look, y'all can go take the tequila brand. Y'all can go do the Fox work, go do all of that. Let me get back on the grass and do what I do.
Hey, look, I know Ace guy asked the first question. I don't want to forget this. Before every game, I take a shot of another tequila brand as a ritual. I would love to take a shot of your tequila brand, like for life.
You absolutely right, you would. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's 100% USDA organic tequila.
Oh, wow.
Don't panic,
Okay.
it's organic, and we got them all. We got Blanco, Silver, Resposado, and Anejo, and we got an
Ooh.
extra Anejo that's coming out soon.
Yes,
Tell,
sir.
tell tell everybody the people. Tell them the name.
It's called Grand Leyenda, GrandLeyenda. It stands for Grand Legend, Satoya family. My partner, he had bought into the brand. He brought me in with him, and we're doing some big things. Matter of fact, we're partnered with the Black Hole and with Breakers, and so we're doing some good things. We're scaling it like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So one thing that a lot of Bengals fans always wondered about, we heard about this AJ McCarron trade, and we heard that it was a trade that never really ended up happening. Like, can you let people know exactly what went down? Because we get bits and pieces, but you were there and you knew exactly what happened. What was your aspect of that?
Ace Boogie and Zim, shit, y'all probably know more than I do. Truth be told, obviously it didn't happen the way I thought it was, and obviously, I heard it was a timing issue. Whatever it was, I was disappointed because of my relationship with AJ. I know
Right.
what AJ could do. I know he would come there and help the Browns organization get to winning.
Right.
Very talented player and leader and person. So when you combine all those things with his winning mentality from Alabama, with his winning mentality with us at the Bengals, I thought he could come in and help, and we just didn't get it done.
No, I definitely agree with that. Like I told a lot of Browns fans, I was like, don't sleep on AJ McCarron because AJ McCarron almost won a playoff game in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. You said it, and people don't get that. People don't understand he's a winner. I mean, he won national championships at Alabama. He won some big games for us in Cincinnati, and I think it's like anything. The more you play, the more you surround players with the right people, the better they become. So I
Right.
think he's in Houston. He's backing up a really good player, but I'm glad that he's still in the league and having an opportunity.
Facts, facts. We can't hear you, Zim.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm trying a brand new headset. This is a special occasion. All right, I think I got it straight. But just going back to the McCarron thing, like, what are your views? Like, how do you feel about that season when you look at that 2015 season and you look at the way that it ended with McCarron? Like, how do you feel? Walk us through. How did you feel going out to that game? What was the confidence level going into that game?
I think we thought we could beat anybody, any place, anytime at that particular point in time. But that being said, I think the fans would remember AJ was injured. He had some ribs that were an issue. He practiced during the week, but not as much. But he did everything he could to be out there. You talking about a warrior? That's what this guy was, and he wasn't going to miss this opportunity to go win a playoff game. Didn't play as well early in the game, but boy, started
Right.
making plays in the second half.
Yes,
That
sir.
touchdown pass to AJ Green. I mean, that is a backyard fight between the Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just what that was. And we had a chance to put that thing away. And just unfortunate that the fumble happened and then all the other shenanigans that went on. But at the end of the day, I thought this young man, his value rose that night because he put the team in a position to win. And if anything across the National Football League, regardless of what people thought, you had to look at him as having the potential to win in your organization. And I still feel that way about him today.
Oh, facts. So you talked about quarterbacks and the potential to win. There also was another quarterback by the name of Carson Palmer that you somehow, I still don't know how to this day you got Mike Brown to trade that man. But from your perspective, like obviously I know what you were doing because you wanted to get a good quarterback in there. You were familiar with Carson and the Raiders were on the rise at that moment. What did you do to like convince Mike Brown to come up off of it? Because he's a tough guy to convince and you were able to do it.
He is, but Mike Brown's also fair, and I think he knew that probably Carson wasn't going to come back. Why not get something for him? He was allowing him to come to somebody that Mike knew and Carson knew. So, and it was out of the division, and so I think all those things you add together, and I think Mike wanted to see me do well,
Right.
So, and I have to be very honest, it wasn't me that did the trade. Mark Brown. Mr. Davis did the trade, not myself, and everybody think it was me. Was I the one that made the call to Carson? Yeah. But Mark Davis, when he went and watched Carson worked out, he goes, we got to have this guy. This guy can help us win games. And so, again, here's another guy that rolled out of the bed that gave us a chance to make the playoffs. We just didn't get it done.
Right. I mean, it's do you like when you think about stuff like that or you talk about like different moments like that, do you have any regrets or any things that you pinpoint that you just say, I wish I could take this back or I got a different move that I would have did at that time period?
Oh my gosh, yes. There's so many things that
Give me your top ones that you
my
just
top one is leaving Cincinnati to go to Cleveland.
Okay.
That was the top one. That's the top one. I mean, I was with a really good football team, with a good quarterback who had won a lot of games, very talented players on offense. Andrew Whitworth, I hope if I would have stayed, I could have convinced the organization
Right.
to keep him
Right.
because he was a catalyst for a lot of things that we were doing. And he was a tremendous player. And I thought that it was the right time for me because I think everybody knows me and Marvin's relationship. I didn't want Marvin feeling like I was ever undercutting him because our friendship is more important than a job. And
Right.
so at the time there was discussions about me potentially staying. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I'm very grateful and thankful for the Browns family for extending an opportunity, but I just thought it wasn't right. It just didn't feel right. So I made a decision to go on, but I look back at that and what I experienced there was totally different than what I felt it was going to be like. So I know one thing, we were winning in Cincinnati. And for whatever reason, I could not get that to happen in Cleveland.
Don't you think a lot of times though, and I know this happened to a couple of players that said they left and they came back. Do you feel like sometimes though people kind of get you get confident in yourself and then you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to resurrect like a situation like the Brown situation, and I believed in you, and I think a lot of people believed in you.
Facts.
But sometimes, like maybe the people around you just aren't as passionate, or maybe they don't have your best interest, or like what are some of these factors that? Why do you think that you didn't succeed in Cleveland like
Well,
I thought you would?
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not gonna do a deep dive into that. What I would say to anybody is just go look at the roster, and just go look at 2016 and 2017's roster, and when I was a winning coach, whether it was in Oakland or in Cincinnati, it's because we had good players at the end of the day.
Right.
Yes, the guys that played for me in Cleveland, but I mean, if you go back and look, Terrell Pryor was my receiver. He had over 1,000 yards.
Right.
I mean, you just go evaluate it all, and you'll go, oh, wait a minute, that is different. So, again, I'm grateful for the opportunity. A lot of people don't get them. It was my second opportunity, but at the same time, boy, I wish I would have did that different.
Right. So you kind of talked about it was kind of like an undercutting thing in Cincinnati with Marvin there. They kind of talked about a coach in waiting position. It kind of came out like right before you left that the Bengals kind of offered you a coaching waiting thing. But I also saw somewhere where it wasn't officially in writing or it wasn't an official deal. A lot of the fans, mind you, there were two coaches, I would say, in Bengals history that we always wanted to kind of assume that coach in waiting position. You definitely, we all wanted you to take over after Marvin, and Mike Zimmer. Was the coach in waiting thing a legit thing, or was it just a story being thrown on out there?
No, it was legit. There's no question it was legit. You were right in some aspects. There were some things that didn't get ironed out, but more so than that, let me, and I share this because I've already shared it before. When I went to that meeting, I watched two men who had great admiration for each other basically lose themselves a bit. I mean, to watch two grown men cry about something that may happen 2 years down the line told me all I needed to know. I didn't want to break up what was an unbelievable relationship that, as we all know, lasted for 16, 17 years.
Right.
And there was something really behind that. And I didn't want to be the reason that that was ending. I just didn't feel comfortable as a best friend. Again, I'm going to say it again. Marvin is not just a colleague. He's one of my best friends, a mentor. He's somebody I really appreciate. And I didn't want to lose that more so than go have a job, you know? So, and I've seen that happen with men, you know, all of a sudden a man thinks you're doing something behind his back, like you're getting ready for something. And I didn't think that was fair when I had a chance to go get my own job, you know? So I look back on that and I wish I had that kind of relationship with an owner, you know, and I believe every coach in the National Football League believed they had that kind of relationship with an owner because the relationship they had was very special.
Wow, that's some deep stuff because like people were sending in questions before we even had this and just were like, man, just ask them about like like the plan that they had in place or whatever. So I guess like it was some stuff in place for you or whatever, and
it was. There's no doubt that it was. Oh,
I lost him for a second.
He'll be back.
But yeah, we were in the middle of a good part. I felt like people were like Hugh was just pretty much saying like, the plan was in place, but he chose his friendship over like that actual point right there. And that's a crazy thing because a lot of people wouldn't do that. And then he also was talking about his relationship with Marvin Lewis. With Mike Brown.
Right. And
then I guess, my next question is like, okay, so I guess it wasn't as strong when it was time for the interview.
Yeah, it seems to me like Marvin Lewis and Mike Brown had a very strong relationship. It definitely seemed like something that they wanted to work out. But like he said, in 2 years, so he knew back then, 2 years, it was going to be a transition and a changing of the guard. And yeah, that was definitely going to lead into the question that we kind of hinted at a little bit. But I've enjoyed this like so far. Like he was an amazing person.
This is a good one. If you're in here and you're asking questions, man, make sure you keep them coming because I am going to pop off some of these things because I feel like he feels very relaxed.
Don't panic. It's organic. Let's do some shout outs to some of the people here in the chat.
Right. If you're listening right now on the pod, so we're doing this live, people. So we had a little bit of or Hugh accidentally did something. He's lit. And he knocked himself off the internet while we're waiting for him to come through. We just want to give you some shout outs. So if you're listening to this on the Orange is the New Black podcast, make sure you keep on tuning in with us. We got new theme music, which I'm really hype about. I know that's a small thing, but I'm just really, really onto my music stuff. So shout out to Elliot. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan told me the other day, you know what he said to me? I thought this was so important. He said, bro, y'all got to show Tyler Boyd more love. Because he is now a top 10 wide receiver. So Hugh, we got you back.
I apologize. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was.
It's all good.
All good.
Nobody went anywhere. Everybody's like, man, we loving it. One thing I wanted to follow up. This was just 20 seconds ago, but you were just talking about the relationship with Marvin Lewis and how it was with Mike Brown, and you wish you had that, or you wish you had a relationship with an owner like that. Do you think that? You thought that maybe the relationship was stronger when you came back for the interview for the head coaching job for what is currently, the current Bengals, thing now. Did you feel really good going into that interview?
I did. I felt good about it, but I understood what I was fighting too. And I think what their concern was, and I'm not trying to answer for them, just what I've heard is just that you take the record in Cleveland, that's hard to sell here in Cincinnati.
Right.
I get that, I do understand that and respect, but at the same time, everybody knows the history in Cleveland with coaches.
Right.
It just doesn't work out. So it's hard to judge someone for what they did in Cleveland when it was like it was for Bill Belichick. It's just that's just the way it's been. But I do understand that, and they made a decision which they thought was right for them.
So we had to ask you this, or I had to ask you this, man. AJ Green and the 2015 receivers, or the 2005 receivers with Chad, TJ, like who you taking? Who you taking between those?
And he coached both of those.
Mo, Marv.
You had different roles though. Talk to answer the question first. Go ahead.
Answer the question first. Can we move on from that?
Nah, buddy. Let's get it.
Chad, TJ, Chris Henry, Kelly Washington, Tad Perry, and that group with AJ Green, Marvin Jones, Mo Sanu, Andrew Hawkins, and that group.
That's heat.
I still got to go with Chad and TJ in that group.
Okay.
But those guys, they were different. And what I mean by that is you would have to been there every day. Those guys had no stop whatsoever. I mean, they took scout team reps. They took whatever reps were available because they just love football. They never got tired. These receivers nowadays, all of a sudden, they run a couple routes, they ready to come out. Them dudes, I had to pull them out the game. That's how important it was to them. And you want guys like that. Not that today's guys, things have just changed a little bit. But at the same time, those guys were warriors, man. They were tremendous players.
Do you look? I know you said you're itching to get back out there. I know you follow the current Bengals. Coming into the season, one of the things that I've eaten crow on is I told everyone, and I said I don't think the team is that great. I think it's a 6-win football team. But one thing coming into the season is I said our wide receiver core is top 3 in the NFL. So far, it has not panned out that way.
Right.
Like when you look at the wide receiver core, do you have like any thoughts on like why maybe they're not? Like maybe I don't know. My expectations were really, really high. Like how do you look at the wide receiver core?
Because you've seen a lot of really good players over the years play for the Bengals at that position. So I think that's the right way to feel. But I think the season, nobody knew exactly where AJ Green would be. He still hasn't hit his stride yet. I mean, everybody's looking to see, can he get back to being what he was before?
Can he?
I think he can, but I just think it's how you prepare him and get him ready to do that. My relationship with AJ was, I'm gonna pull it out of you. I'm gonna make you do it, and that's just the way it was. And he did, but he had talent. He's a very talented player. But you have to push very talented players, as you know. T. Higgins is a young player. I think he looks like Chad to me. He looks like a young Chad Johnson to me when I watch him play. Tyler Boyd is lighting it up. They need to get John Ross going, because
inactive.
Yeah, because there's something that he can bring to the team. The one
thing. But he's inactive though.
I know he has the speed, but is he inactive because he's injured or not part of? I just don't know. I don't understand the inner workings of it. I'm sure they're going to put the best players out there to give them the best chance to win. So, but again, he's a talented player, and so we drafted him high. So you got to find a way to make it work. And I kind of like it to Darius Hayward-Bay that I had in Oakland. Hayward-Bay was the 6th pick of the draft, and when I got there, he hadn't caught very many balls. My last year with him, he caught 65 balls for 975 yards. So you just find a way, and I think that's what they need to do with John Ross.
Right. So you kind of talked about getting another opportunity in the NFL, and it just seems like it's been an issue with them fixing the minority issue when it comes to getting minority head coaches. What are your thoughts on that, and what are things that they can actually do that aren't really like disrespectful or anything to kind of help that issue?
It's a problem. I mean, nobody can run from that, right? I mean, we all recognize there's only been 18 minority head coaches in the 100-year history of the National Football League. And I'm grateful and thankful I've done it twice. And that's kind of unheard of. So that tells you that there's a problem. And I think the only way people can fix problems is you have to understand the problem first. And if you go back to the beginning of the league, and I just got to be very honest, blacks wasn't thought of in leadership positions. There were no in the league, not until 1946, and so after that, then we finally got a couple more. I mean, you got to remember, they were trading players for other players that were minorities, and then you think George Telefero, if I'm not mistaken, I know that's his name, but I think he was drafted in 1946. So you're talking about 30 years or whatever that is before you have a black player. The first black coach is 60 or 70 years after that, and it goes on and on and on. So our starting point for minorities is different than our Caucasian brothers. So in my mind, the only way to treat this right, I made a statement to somebody because they mandated taking the head out of the game, right?
Right.
For CTE, which was the right thing to do. The National Football League has always been cutting edge, really trying to establish things, and they mandated it, and they waited for about 3 or 4 years, and the data told them that they were doing the right thing. So my thing is mandate the same thing when it comes to minority coaches. So if there are 4 positions, you have 2 Caucasian coaches, 2 of the minority coaches. Let's look back in 5 years and see where we are. We'll have some that's done really good. We'll have some that hasn't done as well. We have some that we're still trying to figure out, but you will have some data to look at and say, okay, this is where we need to go now. And I think that's the only way you fix it, in my opinion. I don't think there's any other way to fix it.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my friend because he was really strong, and this is just it's kind of on the same topic, but we were talking about Dwayne Haskins, and I made the comment to him. I said that's his only chance that he'll ever get at a starting quarterback. And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "He's a black quarterback. I mean, like who, like moving forward, like." And I think me saying that kind of caught him off guard, but I just was like, just look at the history and stuff. A lot of coaches only get one shot being this color. A lot of quarterbacks only get one shot. We had Jeff Blake on here. He talked about like how he made the Pro Bowl. Then the following year they brought his replacement in. So like I just think there's that side of it, and then the side that you say, when I pose the question too, like on my Instagram and stuff, a lot of people say, well, we don't. A lot of black people say this too, and a lot of minorities is other minority groups as well said, well, we don't want any handouts. What do like? So when you say like giving 2 jobs to Caucasian brothers and to our Caucasian brothers and 2 jobs to minorities, what do you say to the person that says that that would just be a handout?
I don't think they'll think that's a handout. I think they'll think that's fair. I think where the handout part was coming from is when people were talking about the new things that they wanted to implement with the Rooney Rule. Know, and you'll get a job and we'll compensate the team with draft picks. Nobody wants to do that. You come in already, at a lower level than what you really go in at. People see you different. People treat you different because they know how and why you got the job. So your value just plummets. So you don't want to be in that situation. I totally get that. We want to get what we earn and earn what we get. That's we feel like we can compete with anybody if given opportunity. The problem is we don't get it. The hard part is 70% minority players in the league, and it's the total opposite when it comes to coaching. It's 70% Caucasian league and 30% minority when it comes to coaches. And the positions that we coach are normally not positions that lead to bettering your career opportunity later. And that's what's hard. There's 2 quarterback coaches in all the National Football League today. There's only 2 GMs in all the National Football League today. There are 0 owners in the National Football League today. So you can see where the problem stems from. But go to college football, and it's really the same with more opportunities. So that's why I say this is a real deep-rooted problem that people have to really dive into and talk through and come up with real solutions. There need to be some empathy, a strategy, session put in place so people can really understand what's going on.
For sure.
No, that's real. I gotta ask you, man. Joe Burrow is the hottest topic right now on the streets. What are your thoughts about Joe Burrow?
Man, let me coach that son.
Get him.
Real.
He is everything that he was, and then some. When I watch him, his head coach is a good friend of mine, Ed Ogeron at LSU. We worked together at USC, and he had nothing but great things to say about the young man. But TJ Hushmanzada worked out with him, and Jordan Palmer down in Southern California with T. Higgins and that group. And then to watch him play in the games that he's played, this dude is real. I mean, the guy can throw any football, any pass you need. He's competitive as heck. He's extremely bright. You can tell that. His football IQ is probably off the chart, and he's freaking tough. Yeah. Because he's taken a wallop, thus far, and they got to protect him better because he is the franchise. I mean, let's make no bone about that. In my mind, and don't get me wrong, Andy Dalton won a lot of games here in Cincinnati and knew how to do it and had a great supporting cast. But this young man is different.
It's very different. You talked about him taking a big wallop, right? Taking some hits. There is a lot. The narrative, I hate that the narrative gets overran. Like, the line is trash, the line is trash, the line is trash. Like, outside looking in, could you go to the playoffs with this line? Do you think, I know that the line needs work, but do you see him sustaining his success in these first 4 games? Like, do you see an NFL career? Like, like they I feel like they neglected the offensive line. Like, I know that would probably be a point of emphasis. Maybe if you were a head coach, I'm not going to speak for you, but how bad is the line? That's my question.
I'm not going to jump into that. I think we all know that there are some things that need to be better. That, and it probably hasn't been the same since Andrew Whitworth left. He was the pro left tackle, and you really haven't had one of those in a while. And now Jonah Williams is trying to become that. Not that he can't. Hopefully he will. But they haven't had the camaraderie up front with a group that you can settle in with and say, this group is good. So my first thought is they got to do everything they can to support Joe. How do I support Joe? Right now, we have comparable receivers. We need to make sure we have comparable protection, So I'm going to do everything I can to find anybody and everybody that can play on the offensive line and protect this guy, because I think if you do, he has demonstrated thus far that if you protect me, I will hit hands for you. I will score points for you. I will win for you. And if you have a quarterback that has that, man, you do everything you can to put him in a position where he can win.
For sure.
That's real. That's real. So I'm gonna make it hard on you again, Hugh, but this may bail you out for the statement earlier. Top 5 Bengals receivers that you coached.
Chad, TJ. Okay. I wouldn't put them in an order. I'm just
okay.
No, this is an order. So no, I'm joking. I'm joking.
AJ.
That's crazy right there. That alone is just insane.
Marvin Jones.
Ooh, I like that one.
And the 5th one for me would be, that's a hard one because there was a lot of them. Ooh.
All right.
I'm going to say for me, because he was special in my heart and an unbelievable player, was Chris Henry.
Yes, sir.
Chris Henry was a real deal.
Man.
It's another one of my times where I wish I would have stayed, because I had a way with him that I could get him to do certain things, for whatever the reason was. And then when I left, it just kind of went off the tracks a little bit. So God bless.
Tell us your, if you don't mind, tell us your favorite Chris Henry memory. Do you have a favorite story or anything that you would like to share with us?
Any time that we were in a game and I could look at a corner and see that Chris could run by him, I was always just throwing him in the game. So I never forget we were in Chicago, and it was Tillman. And Charles Tillman was a corner. And the play before, TJ had ran a particular route, but I knew I was saying to Brad, we need to go by this guy. So I put Chris in the game and took TJ out. Lord have mercy. Why did I do that? Now, TJ was pissed, but Chris was happy. The staff was happy because he ran right by Charles Tillman for a long touchdown pass, and I'll never forget that. And I never get Chris coming up to me and saying, thank you for showing me trust, because he knew I had 2 guys that I really trusted in, Chad and TJ. And here I was trusting him into that mode with those guys because he had something special. The guy could run a go ball, he can run a go route, and he can run a post route better than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, he was just phenomenal at those things, and we let him do what he did, and he was special at it.
Man, I can't believe we're talking with the legend Hue Jackson right now. It's crazy. I want to let you know how much love, Who Dey Nation, and respect that we have for you. I asked a question the other day. I said, within the last 20 years, name the best like play caller that the Bengals have ever had. And it was all Hue Jackson. I was like, nobody, like it was Hue Jackson and it was Jay Gruden, but it's all Hue Jackson. So I just wanted to let you know how much love that the Bengals fans and Who Dey Nation has for you and how much respect we have for you as well.
Well, thank you. And I want you to know I love them back. It was special for me in Cincinnati, and the players, the fans, the organization, the Browns family, they were great to me. And I can't thank them enough for what they did for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like we talked about a lot of different topics so far already, but somebody actually popped up a question since you said you want to. Let's go into some of the fan stuff. I was going to ask the same question, but somebody said, Hugh, if you were head coach, what would you do to get AJ Green back? Mike McGilly said that.
I think AJ Green knows me extremely well. I would be on him like fly on that other word. You know, I just the way
talk to him, call him.
My own shit. That's just the way I am with him.
Have you reached out to him anytime? No, when's the last time you talked to AJ Green?
I don't think that's my place right now. You know,
right.
There's another staff. He has another leader. I don't ever want to divide anybody.
Yeah.
I think, again, I just think he's working through it, but I think you got to push him through it.
Now send it through me. I'll call him tonight.
I think Green is one of the most talented players in the league. And it's like anything when you've been off a bike, you get back and you ride, but you're not riding comfortably yet. And
Right.
There's some speed bumps and you got to get over them. And to me, somebody got to push him over those speed bumps and push him over them fast so that he can get back to doing what he does.
Right, man. Somebody else said, so here's my question for Hugh. Ryan McKeon said this. Did the team believe in Dalton could take them to the Super Bowl, or did they think that he had to elevate games to compensate him? Pretty much could he win a Super Bowl on his own, I guess.
I don't think he could have won it on his own. I mean, I think that's obvious. But I think that year of 2015, when we started 8-0, and we were doing some really good things, and then he breaks his thumb after throwing an interception down at the goal line against the Steelers, I really thought this was going to solidify Andy's legacy at the Bengals because I thought we were going.
Right.
I really thought we were good enough on offense, defense, and special teams, and especially with him because he understood the system. He had more experience than AJ, so he could see things a little quicker, and he was playing at a very high level when he got hurt.
Right. Like when I look at some of the stuff when they lining up, like me and Ace had it wasn't even a debate, but everybody was so used to us agreeing and stuff. So the other day I'm just saying, before the season, I said it's going to be all on coaching, whatever. Then the season starts up, and I'm like, shoot, these players just going to have to make some plays. But so last week, me and Ace got into it. He's saying, well, the coaching needs to be better. And I'm like, well, there's plays to be made. There are plays that need to be made. From a coaching standpoint, draw me up something. Like, you got some creative shit. Like, I just feel like so many people, and I know you don't want to overstep over anybody's toes, but you tell me how you would line them up. Like, tell me, I can send this stuff to them. I'm gonna text AJ or something.
Let me say this to you. What was hard for me is when I left Cincinnati. I think you guys remember I was one of the most creative coaches in all of pro football.
For sure. Sure.
And I can't do what I do. You can only do what you do with the players you have. And so I think when I look at this team right now, Giovanni Bernard is one of my favorites. Still one of my favorites. I don't know. I know Trey Hopkins. He was a free agent when I was here before. But I know who AJ Green is. I know what runs Untitled Boy. They have a young tight end. I think is very talented. So I think there's enough stuff there to do.
Ross.
A lot of different things, but in order to do that, you got to be comfortable and confident. and what you're doing, and the players have to be comfortable and confident in it. And so,
Right.
regardless of what that is, whether that's not coach's forte or that's not, where he's cut from, I think he's trying to do the best job that he can to put a winning team out there and get these guys to play well every week. And again, I'm sure right now he's turning up the heat as much as he can to get these players to be all they can be.
For sure. I was gonna read a bunch of questions, but everybody was just like, "Man, I want Hue back." Like, I don't know if you see the comments, but they're just like, "Man, we need Hue as a O coordinator." That's what prompted me to ask that question.
Oh, yeah. I miss it. I'll say it again. I miss the Bengals fans tremendously because they were good to me, and hopefully I brought something to the table that they were excited about. And,
definitely. That's no question.
When I watch this young quarterback, they have the one piece that you better have to win in the National Football League. He is the right guy at the right time in Cincinnati to do some great things. And if they support him over the next several years, he'll bring a championship here. I truly believe that.
Hugh, do you know for the last 4 years, I would come on here, I would literally like pull my hair out, all this crap for 4 years preaching quarterback. And everybody was like, why don't you just get a line and just do it the old fashioned way? I was like, yeah, that's cool and all. 2020, I need some points on the board. There was a lot of 3 and outs. I'm like, I just need a guy that's going to move the chains. And God just blessed me with this guy named Joe Burrow. And he came out the sky and he started delivering these footballs. And now, like, you're here to, like, verify all of my teachings. Because every single week I will come on here and I'm talking about, like, we could win a game. And that no shot against Dalton. I'm just like, I like him, but we got to get this going. And I just think the quarterback position is just so it's the most important position in all of sports to me.
Yeah, and
like,
I get that. I mean, you can see that throughout the National Football League. The teams whose quarterbacks are playing at a high level, they're playing well. And the teams that are not, they're not. I mean, you look what Dak Prescott's going through. He just needs a defense. So everybody needs.
Right.
As long as they're not saying he needs an offensive line, then he's got a chance. We just need to continue to put as many talented players as we can around Joe Burrow and watch what he does because he's a winner.
Definitely.
Last thing I'll say about him that really drives me about him that I love, it was after the week before this game where he's tired of losing.
Right.
He's not used to losing. And you can't. And that's why I think it's so important for the organization. And I'm sure from Mike, Katie, Troy, Duke, all of them, they get it. When you have an alpha male like that and he can't win, that is hard.
Right.
And if he sees why he can't win, that's even harder because he's built to win. He's not built to lose.
Right.
Nobody's really built to lose.
What did you see from that press conference? Because me and Ace had a conversation off the thing. I said, man, when he came to this press conference before that week of the Jaguars, I said he didn't guarantee a victory, but it was a fire in his eye that was a little bit different. He was pissed after the game, but what did you see that just told you like it was almost like, yeah, we got to get a win, like definitively.
He wasn't losing anymore. That he was going to lose whoever as he had to that week to make sure he got done.
Right.
That's what he did. And, when you have a quarterback like him, it empowers your defense. It empowers your special team because they want to get the ball, because they know he's going to go do special things. The throw he made on a corner route to, I think it was to Higgins.
Yeah.
Was he dropped in there?
Dropped right in there.
Kind of throws.
Right.
You see those kind of throws from the great ones.
Right.
Those kind of throws from the normal NFL quarterback. They don't make them. They just can't make those. He can't. And you guys are all witnessing it in real time. I mean, this is really happening. And that's why it's so important that we protect this guy because you're talking about a 10-year window for this guy special for this organization, and they got to make that happen.
So I got to ask you, Hugh, I feel the same way about this matchup coming in with Joe Burrow taking on the Ravens. Do you think that Joe Burrow can beat the Ravens this weekend?
Oh, I think he can beat them. I think they have to have the right plan and the right strategy because, again, they will walk in this game and where they're not as strong at, that's where Baltimore's strong. So how do you negate their strength? You got to find ways to keep Baltimore off of Joe Burrow, because they're going to walk into this thing and they're going to make it like, we got to get Joe Burrow. I mean, everybody's got to understand from here on in, the target is not the Bengals, it's Joe Burrow, because they have to get him stopped. Because if they don't, it's going to be a problem.
Oh, that's real.
Right. So when we started off this, and we're going to come to a close because I want to be respectful of your time. When we started this off, you mentioned that you're itching to get back out there.
Oh, yeah.
At what role, like, would you be?
It doesn't matter. I don't.
But it has to be the National Football League.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's going to be wherever. You know, coaching is just.
That's crazy though.
Leading men is in our blood. You know, when you do it, it's, I've done it. It's what I know. You know, so I want to get back to doing what I do, which is leading men, getting them to follow a vision, believe in it, and make it happen. And because I think I can do it. I think I know how to do it at a high level. I think I can get men to follow me and believe in me and produce for me. So I just need another opportunity to get back on the grass. What it is, I don't know. How it's going to unfold, I don't know. But I know it's going to happen. That's for sure.
For sure.
Definitely needs to happen. He should have a job right now.
Would you come back as if the opportunity presented itself? Would you come back here as an offensive coordinator?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know what the stands felt like when we were doing the things we were doing, and the people screaming and hollering and not leaving because they didn't know what was going to happen. You know, and what this is all about. It's a performance business, as we all know. And people like to feel good about their team and what their team is trying to do. So, no, I would in a heartbeat.
Man, Ace, do you have anything that you want to close us out with at all? Like,
I just want to say thanks, Hugh, for taking the time out to come on here, man. You're, like I said, the legend Hue Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. Smart football mind, definitely needs to be employed. So I look forward to seeing that happen in the future, sir. And thank you for joining us tonight, for sure.
Hey, thank you, man, for the opportunity. First and foremost, I think what you guys are doing for the Bengal fans is outstanding. Keep doing what you're doing. Take it to a whole different level. And I'm telling you, get ready, because Joe Burrow is going to take this team to a Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
It's just in his blood. The guy don't go and win a national championship game and not have that fire in him that burns. There is a fire that burns in his belly, and that's why he's losing. And that's what everybody's got to understand. So everybody's got to support him. And when that happens, the Bengals going to go to a whole different level.
Yes, sir.
Man, that, ladies and gentlemen, was the great Hue Jackson. I am like praying that he gets an opportunity somewhere so he can make me look very, very smart, because I've been like, you know, like I just want some crazy like formations. I want all of that stuff back in the league. Please make sure you guys follow him. Check him out too. Please tell everyone the name of the tequila. Please, everyone that's watching, drink responsibly. But Hugh, please let them know the name of the tequila.
Brand Leander Tequila. We have every brand. I hope someday I can get in Ohio. The Ohio liquor laws are really different, really stringent. But we're in Florida, LA, Las Vegas.
Check it out.
Black Hole. There you can have it shipped to you. And you just said something that's really important. Please drink responsibly, especially with this pandemic that's going on.
Sure.
And stay safe and keep on rooting for those Bengals, man. Let's get some wins.
Yes, sir. That was the Orange is the New Black podcast with my man Hue Jackson. It's been a beautiful night, beautiful moment. We are like really, really, really happy about this. Signing out now, guys. Who they?